One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
And welcome into a Monday on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm your host, Big Mike, being heard right now on Spreaker.com today, Wednesday, and Friday. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. You too can hear me on Spreaker.com. That's Spreaker. And, of course, the app for all of your mobile devices. Go ahead and make sure you guys download that. Share it with your friends. Tell your people about it. Holler at your boy. Speaking of hollering at me, once you do sign up for your free Spreaker account via the website, you guys can also search for my show, One Mic with Big Mike. That's spelled the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. And then once you do that, you can hear the show, like I said, live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 p.m. I guess it's Eastern Daylight Time now, since we had to leap forward into Daylight Savings Time. And also, you guys can join the show and be a part by clicking on that little thought bubble. And you can join my live interactive chat room and share your thoughts with me. Give me some opinions on what you think about what I'm talking about. If you've got, subject matter ideas, they are welcome. I can't guarantee that they'll be taken, but, you're welcome to share your ideas of things that you think maybe I should be talking about. Also, make sure you follow me. I use the same handle that you use for Spreaker on Twitter and Instagram. That's One Mic with Big Mike. Just use the number 1. And as far as Facebook goes, you got to spell the numeral out. Facebook.com. One Mic with Big Mike. That's ONE this time. MICWITHBIGMIKE. Absolutely. Back from the weekend. I told you guys coming shortly. The One Mic with Big Mike website is going to be on deck here. Hopefully this week, but definitely by this time next week, I will not be reading all of that information as far as Twitter and Facebook and, email. I didn't even say the email. One Mic at, no. See, I forget it. It's Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com if you guys want to send me your emails. But all that stuff, I'll simply just tell you to go to onemicwithbigmike.com. You'll be able to hear the show. You'll be able to get previous episodes of the show. I got my man, Rob Calloway, my guy, Alec Campbell. They're going to do some writing. I may even, tickle the old, not the ivory, but tickle the keyboard and write some of my dumb thoughts down, which is like, I don't know, it's something I've tried to do a couple of times before, and it's like a little bit of like with people like me, it's an undertaking, man, because I don't just sit down and write. Like, I start thinking of different things, and then I have to go and, fact check them, and Google stuff while I'm writing, and it takes, for me just to write, a page, double space, and it ends up taking, hours to do it. I just rather talk. You know what I mean? I just rather just talk about it, after I do all the fact checking. And I don't know, I guess it's the same thing. But to do it twice, to write it and talk about it, kind of seems redundant to me. As far as the rest of the week, so far, I got one guest on Wednesday. Her name is Vashti Hurt from CarolinaBlitz.com. She's going to hop on with me and talk about college basketball. Yeah, she's one of those, I guess she's one of those, she's been presented to me like she's one of those college basketball weirdos. I don't say that disparagingly. I just think people who are totally invested in college basketball, they just love things that are awful for the majority of the time and then get real, real good at the end. That's what college basketball is. It's an exercise of passing the ball around the perimeter over and over and over and again, resetting offenses, missing layups and free throws, and at the very end, throwing up prayers and buzzer-beating shots and making people go crazy, March Madness style, And so the tournament starts on Thursday. I will not mock my words or mark them, whatever you want to do. You can mock them or mark them. I'm not filling out no damn bracket this year. It's an exercise in futility, and it has been for years. And this year, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not filling out no damn bracket. First of all, I can probably, you know what I thought about today? the amount of college basketball that I've watched this season. Like, 'cause to me, it's like just an extended preseason. And then now you have the actual season starting right now. This next couple of weeks is the actual season of college basketball. I've seen LSU. I've seen Kansas. I've seen Oklahoma. Who else have I seen? Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke. I haven't even seen Georgia Tech. I'm here in Atlanta. I haven't seen Georgia Tech play basketball. I heard they're doing all right. Haven't seen them play. Who else have I seen? Notre Dame, Pitt, Syracuse. Yeah, that's about it. I can't remember. Michigan State. Yeah, the Valentine kid. Yeah, but for the most part, I'm good. You know what I mean? As long as the pros are playing, like dudes who really and truly get buckets, I can pass on the rest of it, quite frankly. But she's going to jump on Wednesday to not only educate you guys, but educate me as well, because I don't care. I'm not going to do what I do every year and try to crunch for the tournament and learn a bunch of stuff about a bunch of teams that I don't really care about. You know what I mean? I watch the shows. Because I like Jay Williams. I think Jay Williams is an excellent analyst for ESPN. He and Jay Billis, I love those two dudes and what they do. So I listen to them, and I get a little bit of information, kind of it filters in through all the football stuff and the professional basketball stuff. And I'm kind of good with that. And I'll get some more on Wednesday from Vashti Hurt of CarolinaBlitz.com. You guys can follow her on Twitter at Vashti, VASHTIHURT, Vashti Hurt. I hope I'm saying her name right. So yeah, as far as today's show goes, no guest, but you just got me. And I appreciate you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys adding to the numbers and downloading the join. And, oh, by the way, if you don't hear the show live, any show live, you might be listening today, but you didn't hear Friday or so forth and so on, feel free to go to Spreaker. You guys can download the situation. You guys can also stream the situation through your cell phone and all those things if you're on the go. Make sure you hit the little heart button too. The little heart icon, and I gotta get my likes up. I never mentioned that. I gotta get my likes up. And like I say, the live interactive chat room is open right now. If you're listening, click on the little thought bubble that you see dancing on your screen, or if you're listening via the app, I don't think the thought bubble's dancing, but you'll see it at the bottom. Just click on that. You can join the interactive chat room. So as far as today's show goes, of course, we're going to do our daily look back into the history of sports. We call it on this day where I give you guys some factoids on some great historical accomplishments that happened on this particular day in history. Of course, I got to talk about the NCAA tournament. Not necessarily the teams involved, because that ain't really my bag. If you listen to sports, normal pedestrian sports talk, or if you've been looking at TV all day today and yesterday, you pretty much got the gist of it. I don't want to keep beating that damn dead horse and cutting it open and living in it. If you didn't see what it's called, the Revenant, if you didn't see it, the reference just totally missed you, but whatever. So, but I talk about some of the things that are surrounding the tournament. Some of the ancillary stories that are just conversation pieces and thought-provoking type things. I got to talk about what's going on in the NFL. A couple of suspensions today. One dude, BJ Raji, said he's gonna take a year off. Imagine that, right? And then just before the show started, I read an article about what the NFL is finally saying about chronic traumatic encephalopathy (CTE) and how it's linked to playing professional football. So, what else have we got here today? I think that's it. I got some stuff in the NBA. Just some, I don't know. Steph Curry I just curse now when I see him. I just say curse words because it doesn't seem like the things that Stephen Curry is doing should be possible. And I guess today or yesterday, one of these 2 days is his birthday. I just saw that as well. And I want to talk about some things, some societal things as well. On Friday, matter of fact, you know what? I'll start with that. On Friday, in Chicago, I think while I was doing the show, this was going on. There was supposed to be a Donald Trump rally in Chicago, and it was canceled due to protesters and people protesting the I guess basically protesting him. He's an idiot. Protesting idiocy and bigotry and xenophobia and all the things that he stands for. Protesting that. It turned ugly. People got hurt. Police officers got hurt. And I'm a person. I try to be as calculated as possible in the things that I say, the things that I do, because I'm not a person that necessarily believes in apologies. You know what I mean? I say what I mean what I say. So as not to have to, so as not have to feel as though an apology is necessary after the fact. Like that whole excuse, like, she made me mad or he made me mad. Be an adult. Get a hold of yourself and be an adult. And when I see the stuff that was going on Friday and so much of the stuff now that I'm starting to pay attention to more stuff on social media, it's troubling in the way of I feel like a lot of the actions and a lot of the things that are being done are done without aiming at a goal. You know what I mean? They're done out of emotion and that feeling that recent that recent flare up of I don't know what to do. I know I got to do something. Stemming from Ferguson and stemming from Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and those type of things. Like I got to do something, and no one's actually sitting down. And it doesn't seem to me. Let me say it that way. It doesn't seem to me like anyone's actually sitting down and orchestrating the plan. It's just like, let me tweet something out, put a hashtag on it, let it go viral, and then we'll work it out as we go. And it seems like it comes across as a bastardization of something that once was. You know what I mean? If what you're trying to do is emulate the things that went on in the 60s, first of all, this is a different day. A different day requiring, in my opinion, different tactics when it comes to righting wrongs. I think where we're at in society, a lot of the things that we want changed need to be changed from the inside out. And in order to do that, help has to be, there has to be help asked for and accepted. You know what I mean? I read a story about the Black Lives Matter, some of the leadership from the Black Lives Matter movement sitting down with Hillary Clinton. And she earnestly was asking, what do you want? And then she made a suggestion to them that, I suggest you guys come up with a plan and a goal and something that, you want to attain. And I don't think she meant let that be the end all be all, but have something that you're working towards and then accomplish that and work toward, or some things that you're working towards and then accomplish those things and then work towards something else and so forth and so on. Because right now, all it seems like is like, all right, everybody, let's hit the streets. All right, now what? Because that happened on Friday. Donald Trump held, I think, a couple more rallies. I think he went to like Dakota and to Charleston, South Carolina, and some other places, Boca Raton. Yeah, it don't stop. And at the very end of the day, back to the civil rights comparison, the civil rights movement comparison, there was a very clear goal to a lot of the things that went on as far as like things like Selma and marching to Montgomery and things of that nature, man. It was to bring attention to the plight of people of color. Bring that to people who didn't know about it across the world. Now, everyone in any country, if you got a smartphone, Donald Trump is an idiot. He's a racist. He's a liar. Like this morning, for some reason, I just got up and I've never done this. I've never gone to this site, PolitiFact, to see. I wanted to see what it was like and what kind of information they gave. And they actually have like bar graphs on each person. Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders and of course Donald Trump. And that dude was just a liar based on what they're saying. The things that aren't factual. 1% of the things he says are true. 1%. Like, if someone is willing to blindly follow that, you showing up with a sign at a rally, it's not going to change their mind. And I don't know if that's the goal, because like I said, I don't know what the goal is. But that's not going to do it, because if people are willing to accept that from anybody, any person who wants to be in charge of anything, the person who wants to be in charge at your job, the person who wants to be in charge of the football team, the person who wants to be in charge of the country, you know what I mean? For anyone who's willing to accept that, there is no changing their minds. The other thing I'll say too is, don't lie. Like, don't tell lies about why you're doing what you're doing. Like, first of all, if you don't know, then you just don't know, and you probably need to stay at home. But second of all, like, don't get on TV and tell me and everybody else that you went to this Donald Trump rally because you wanted to, as a young voter, you wanted to know about the candidates' plans. Come on. There's no one that's unaware. Like, if you got the time to go to a rally, a Donald Trump rally, you know what his plans are. Now, if you just there to stir up some stuff and start some junk, okay, right, whatever. I'm not knocking it at all. But now when you get put out and you crying on the street to the TV camera, don't lie, because no one believes that. No, I guess I should say, no one should. No rational person should believe that some young black person went to a Donald Trump rally because I just didn't know what he stood for, and I wanted to find out. Nah, come on, man. That ain't even. I can't even give you like a good try. Like, yeah, A for effort on it. It's ridiculous. And you say, like, okay, Mike, what the hell does this have to do with sports? A couple of things, to be honest with you. I saw this weekend. The All-Pro Center for the New York Jets, Nick Mangold, actually presented Donald Trump at one of his rallies. And if you guys don't know, I think Bill Belichick, Bob Kraft, what's the boy's name, Tom Brady, have all not necessarily endorsed him, but I think Robert Kraft has. But Tom Brady's a friend of his, and he made the statement that he'll support his friend. And I wonder how that plays, like, in the workplace. Like, Tom might be your man, and it may not benefit. Like, if you're like, I don't know who, if you're like LeGarrette Blount, it doesn't benefit you to say anything publicly about the golden boy Tom Brady. That ain't the move. Feel me? It just ain't. It ain't gonna help you any. You done been popped for weed, and we're gonna talk about this NFL weed situation in a while and how you guys have been made to be idiots in this situation. And I'll tell you about that as the show moves on. This is One Mic with Big Mike. Big Mike here for the next at least 2 hours. I wasn't even sure I wanted to do a show today, man, but I feel like I needed to. I felt like, it was some things I wanted to say, and I didn't want to wait until to do it on Wednesday. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7, and the Spreaker app, so guys can go to your app stores and download that. Spreaker spelled Spreaker. And don't forget also, once you do that, I'm live right now, so you can jump on in the live interactive chat room by clicking the little thought bubble, and I'll let your thoughts be known on the commentary for the night. I also want to mention the fact that I think the protests may have missed the mark. And I don't know, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I got up on Saturday, I turned the television on, and the whole narrative it didn't reflect what I saw on my social media feeds. You know what I mean? Like, I saw on my social media feeds, it was like black people, because the majority of the people that I follow and follow me are black people, were celebrating some sort of victory. You know what I mean? Over Donald Trump. I felt like that was unwarranted. I feel like he got exactly what he wanted and what he's been getting. Free publicity at every turn. Like, no one's surprised that this dude is a crazy man. No one's surprised about that. That's why I said I don't understand what the inevitable goal is in doing these type of things, so that he just doesn't have a rally. All right, they'll have one tomorrow in some other city. You know what I mean? And he realized the same thing I realized. You have a rally on Tuesday, yeah, folks got to go to work. You know what I mean? And y'all ain't gonna be out there in the street shutting down no damn rally. You got to go to work on Wednesday. Come on. Not to that extent, I should say. Like Friday was kind of like the perfect storm thing. It's like a Donald Trump rally meets Chicago meets, the weekend. It was like the perfect storm. Everything came together all right, and it got rowdy. And to me, it got out of hand as well, man, with the violence on both sides of the thing, man. Donald Trump inciting the riots, telling people that folks need to be taken out on stretchers, and if somebody does this, still on them in the mouth, and all this kind of foolishness. Like, you can't unstupid someone. You know what I mean? I don't believe you can. I think the best way to do it is to attach yourselves to policymakers, man, and entrust. If we can't become policymakers, because that's not going to happen overnight, I think it can happen, obviously, because we do have the country has a black president. I had to be careful when I say we, because I hate when black people say, like, this is my president, and you ain't say that about George Bush, implying that because he's black, he's more yours than anybody else's. That's ridiculous. He's the country's president. Ain't now one of us got no 40 acres or no damn mule since he's been in there for the last 7.5 years. And it ain't going to happen in the next 6. But policymakers are the ones that can shut stupidity like Donald Trump. Now, like, I'm not worried about the dude becoming president. Like, I paid attention a little bit in civics class, and I understand what checks and balances are. You know what I mean? Like, he just can't be like, we're going to bomb everybody in Syria tomorrow. No, he can't do that. You know what I mean? It's Congress and the Senate and all that stuff got to get through all that first. Especially when things of that magnitude, building walls and foolishness of that nature. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is society, is the emboldening of people now to feel like they can do what the hell they want to and say what the hell they want to the people. It's going, like, trust me, I'm the first dude to say I believe anybody should be able to believe what they want to and say what they want to. But then people don't understand limitations, just as human beings. Feel me? We're lustful beings, and we always want more. So while it would start with someone saying something, to somebody else, which, again, I'm not in favor. Like, people like to say, like, if somebody said that to me, I'll whoop their ass. Tell you why. So you can go to jail? Look, man, I got people depending on me. I don't have time for that. You feel me? But then we run into a situation where it could turn into other things because people will realize very quickly. You'll be surprised. Like, have an argument with your woman sometimes and just stop talking. Watch how frustrated she gets. Yeah. People understand real quickly that, okay, I'm not getting their attention this way. Let me ramp up the attention getting. That's why the people in the 60s went through those exercises they went through where they were sitting, they would mock. They would mock up like counters and have people like blow cigarette smoke in their mouth and pull their hair and spit on them so that when they went, they would have like racism practice. You know what I mean? And these dudes would have racism practice. That's why. Because people will find out very quickly when they're beginning to look way more stupid than they intended to look in the beginning. And then they won't be able to handle that, so they gotta resort to other things. Like, trust me, I'm not advocating anybody to go through racism practice anymore. This is a new day. Like, right now, I'm looking at my tool right now. You know what I mean? Somebody will put their hands on me, I'm probably gonna be the last person they do it to. I'm just going to keep it real with you. But somebody's words ain't going to make that happen. Nah, hell no. Nah. So yeah. The Nick Mango angle kind of, it intrigued me. Because I remember what everybody did when Riley Cooper said the N-word. He was drunk at a concert and was about to fight this black dude, I guess is what the story was. And he called him. They said something like that, N-word, just don't know. And to me, I was cool with it. You know what I mean? Sometimes, certain things got to be said in certain ways when you feel in a certain kind of way. Like, I don't take that to think Riley Cooper some sort of, and like a lot of people did. I didn't take it to feel like Riley Cooper some sort of card-carrying member of the Klan. I think Riley Cooper did what a lot of people do. They say the thing that they feel like is going to hurt that person the most, or make themselves in certain situations feel tough or seem tougher to the people around them. Now, I don't know Riley Cooper at all, but just in light of what he does for a living, it's just kind of hard, man. It's kind of hard to to just assume that somebody, because of a word, something comes out of somebody's mouth, that's what they are. That's what they should be defined as. Because, come on, black people, we know. You know and I know. Certain things come out of our mouths when we're talking about people of other races, too. So, like, driving down that one-way street is dangerous, man. Because there's going to always be something at some point coming down the wrong way at you, man. So yeah, that's kind of my take on the whole Donald Trump thing. And the other thing that came up this weekend, I'm gonna talk about this later on in the show. Last night, I saw the ESPN 30 for 30 on the Duke lacrosse team. I guess this is like the 10-year anniversary of it, or this week or last week was the 10-year anniversary of the situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about 10 years ago on the campus of Duke University, the lacrosse players. And I'm assuming they was all white guys. I didn't look up and see a team picture from '96, but assume they're all white guys. And 2006. I'm sorry, they're all white guys, and they had a party and invited and paid some strippers to come through. And there was an incident. Well, there was an incident that was reported by one of the strippers that she had been sexually assaulted. And the city that Duke is in is a black city, but they have this prominent white university with these privileged white and black kids that go to the school, and it just kind of sparked off and got way out of hand, like too out of hand. And I'll go through my thoughts on it later on in the show because right now I only have 2 minutes left in this segment, but in the next segment I want to talk about the NCAA, but I felt compelled to address the Donald Trump situation. I know, if you're listening, I thought this was a sports show. Well, that's where you're kind of wrong. It doesn't really fit entirely into that box. Things spill over, and when it comes to, I did throw a sports element into it. Nick Mango plays sports, and Tom Brady and those guys, but more seriously than that, I don't know the answers to the Donald Trump situation, but I rarely ever feel like the answer to any situation is to make it to respond emotionally. You know what I mean? Especially when everyone else involved is not responding that way. Like Donald Trump is calculated. You know what I mean? He don't care. He don't care about y'all protesting and shutting this thing down. Because now what it does, it gives this idiot a First Amendment platform to stand on now. We all got First Amendment rights, and not even realizing when he's saying that part of that right is the right of assembly. You know what I mean? Part of that Constitution is the right to assemble. The same Constitution that he's, talking about freedom of speech, and they're taking my freedom of speech away. So in turn, you want to take other people's right to assemble peacefully away. It's just kind of weird. And I would say this: you want to go to the rally and have a presence at the rally, that's one thing. But always understand what it is that you're getting into. And if you're putting yourself in a can't win situation, and all that's going to happen is you're going to have a YouTube video that goes viral, at the end of the day, the world's moving much faster than it moved in 1965. You feel me? People are going to forget about it like today, Monday. Everybody's talking about people getting snubbed in a basketball tournament. No one cares anymore about that, man. And I just feel like there's got to be a better way, a more calculated way to get things into to set forth change in this country when it comes to race relations, when it comes to showing empathy towards other people. I just think there's a better way, man. And no one ever suggests, let's have a conversation, a real open conversation. Because the first time somebody does, somebody posted a quote of Hillary Clinton. This is the last thing I'm going to say before I break. Posted a quote from Hillary Clinton saying that the truth is, in America, there's still a segment of white people that still kind of shudder a little bit when they see a black man in the hood. Not in the hood, but in a hoodie, right? And people's like, see, and does she want to be president? Yeah, for saying that. If that's the only thing we gonna judge it on, hell yeah, because that's honest. That's honest, and that's a conversation starter. Because now the next thing would be why. Let's talk about why. Let's have that conversation, and then see if we can ease those fears some. but no one wants to do that. Everybody just wants to react emotionally. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, heard Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app. Make sure you guys sign up for your free Spreaker account and follow me on Spreaker at One Mic with Big Mike. That is spelled with the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. And please use that same handle for Twitter and Instagram as well. Like I said, when we get back, I want to talk about this NCAA stuff. The tournament, everything surrounding it. Well, not everything. A lot of the things that are surrounding it. And just kind of give you guys every year I do this. My thoughts on, what I feel about this rigmarole called the NCAA tournament. As well, as I said earlier, we'll take a look back into the annals of sports, and I'll give you guys our daily feature called On This Day. I'll be right back.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of One Mic with Big Mike. Of course, I am Big Mike. Welcome back from the weekend, everybody. Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. Spreaker, that's SPREAKER.com. Sign up for your free Spreaker account, either via the website or the app. And once you do that, search for my show, the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE. That's One Mic with Big Mike. And after you do that, you can check me out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock, and jump on in the live interactive chat room. That always helps. The back and forth with the people in the chat room is always good. You guys can also have conversations amongst yourself in the chat room and, amuse me sometimes. How about that? A little role reversal. Nah, I don't need that. I'm just playing. I had a conversation today about, taking calls on the show. I'll do without. I don't trust none of you bastards, man. You guys end up hijacking my show, letting cuss words fly. This is the internet, and there is no regulation on it. But I just prefer not to. I've been trained. I've been trained otherwise. You know what I mean? Also, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram. Same thing, One Mic with Big Mike, the number 1, MICWITHBIGMIKE, and Facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. And as promised, we're going to go ahead and jump on into our daily look back into the annals of sports. We call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
Sorry, I reached down to grab my mouse and I hit a button. On this day in 1954, The Milwaukee Braves' Henry Aaron. He homers in his first exhibition game. Now, obviously, it didn't count, but it doesn't really matter. He went on to hit like 700 million more in a lot of people's minds because of one Barry Bonds and his size fluctuation in the late 90s and 2000s. Henry Aaron, in English, is still the reigning home run champion. On this day in 1960, Wilt Chamberlain of the Philadelphia Warriors, he set the NBA playoff record of 53 points at that time. I think it's been broken since then. I think Mike hit the Cavs for like 60-something one time, and a couple of other dudes got over 53 points in a NBA playoff game. On this day in 1962, the same guy, Wilt Chamberlain, same team, Philadelphia Warriors, played every single minute of the game for 47 consecutive games. Jesus Christ. Come on. Like, I wonder if he needed to. Or if it was just like, I ain't coming out. On this day in 1967, the first NFL AFL Common Draft was held. The Baltimore the Baltimore Colts, they took Bubba Smith, the late Bubba Smith, out of Michigan State. You know, some of you guys may know him from Police Academy fame, and if you're any younger than that, just Google it. You know what I mean? On this day in 1972, the NBA's Cincinnati Royals, they announced they would be moving to Kansas City to become the Kansas City Kings, who later on moved again to become the Sacramento Kings. On this day in 1978, the NFL permanently adds a seventh official, the side judge. So before 1978, side judge didn't even exist. On this day in 1992, Stacey Augmon, ATL, stand up. At that time, he was playing for the Hawks. He actually scored the 6 millionth point in NBA history. That's a funny thing from a guy who wasn't really renowned as a scorer. He was more of a defender, long. They called him Plastic Man. But yeah, ironically, he's the guy who scored the 6 millionth point. That was in 1992, so I wonder what number they're on now. On this day in 1995, the U.S. National Labor Relations Board announces it will charge Major League Baseball owners with 2 counts of unfair labor practices. And finally, on this day in 2005, Major League Baseball gave a congressional committee about 400 pages of documents related to drug testing. It also reported that Bud Selig would be willing to testify in hearings planned for March 17th. Yeah. Man, speaking of Barry Bonds, all right, drug testing, I never failed a test. All right. I mean, at the end of the day, were you able to play? And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Monday edition of On This Day. Again, this is One Mic with Big Mike. I, of course, am Big Mike. Make sure you guys are following me on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app. Go ahead and download that joint and then listen to the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7. And jump on in the live interactive chat room. Let me know what you guys are thinking, what you guys think about what I'm saying. If you guys got any thoughts of your own as far as content, feel free to share. It's all good. So, yeah, yesterday, Selection Sunday. And it's so crazy to me and amazing how it's like the NCAA and the partners, CBS and TNT and Turner and all those, they gas up for this one, boy. They go ahead and fill the tank so they can give it to you like it's the Super Bowl. And really it's not. It's really not. And like my man, like I told you guys on Wednesday, Vashti Hurt from the Carolina Blitz, from CarolinaBlitz.com. I don't want to mistake that with the Carolina Blitz, just CarolinaBlitz.com. She'll join me, and she was presented to me as a college basketball aficionado. She's really into college basketball. I call those people college basketball weirdos. My guy, I got a guy named Deshaun Tate, big time college basketball weirdo. And he ain't ashamed of it. And most people aren't like that. Like baseball weirdos and soccer weirdos, they're not afraid to admit that they are. They love this stuff. Me, on the other hand, I simply tolerate it, to be honest with you. I deal with it. And it's cool. For what it's worth, it's cool. You feel me? But just the way, even ESPN, I can't leave them out because they're like the masters of like the manufactured reaction. Like, how many years? Tell me this. How many years are we going to fall for the Dick Vitale being appalled that some bum ass team didn't make it to the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, I think yesterday it was like about Monmouth. Now, if you don't know about these Monmouth boys, they're the kids that, you know, they have the bench that does all those crazy celebrations, like what is it? The picture of David where like God is, or was it Adam? What is that picture where God is touching or trying to touch the human being's hand or finger together, and they do all these like crazy animated celebrations, which I've always said, if this was like some, you know, Alcorn State, or I guess Alcorn State is the way it's supposed to be pronounced, it probably would be a problem. People would be getting upset. Or what's another team? I can't, because Alcorn's like Division II or something, like one of those Hamptons or somebody. Those mid-major black schools, I still think it would be a huge issue. Because if people couldn't handle Cam Newton dabbing, you think they could handle like 7 dudes on a bench, like doing the break dancing and doing the centipede and all this kind of stuff? Come on, man. But another story for another day. They're not going to play in the NCAA tournament. And apparently that's a big deal. Look, I don't care. Like, to me, it's too big anyway. Like, what are we on? 68 teams? It's so big that they're going to play games tomorrow and Wednesday that are technically a part, but not a part of the tournament. Like, for a long time, people was like, is that the first round, or what is it called? The play-in game? Now it's called just the play-in. So whoever you are, you may have even won your conference tournament to get into the tournament, but now you have to play another game to get into the tournament. Like, I have the bracket here. You know what I mean? It's here. I'm not filling it out, and I don't care. In case you don't know, okay, Kansas is the 1 seed in the South. Oregon is the 1 seed in the West. Moving over here, the Midwest, Virginia is the 1 seed in the Midwest. And finally in the East, North Carolina. Which, by the way, I'm looking at 6 losses, 7 losses, 6 losses, 4. Come on, man. Yeah, and everything people want to talk about. I heard people arguing today about seeding. That's why I call the regular season the longest preseason in sports. Because you can try to hype me up with Duke, North Carolina, best rivalry in sports. You're a liar. Didn't they play 3 times this year, and now one of them meant anything? They didn't mean anything. That, and you want. All right, we'll go with this one. We'll go with this microphone, all right? Sound better, everybody? All right, so they want to tell me also that, 1 versus 2 this week, Kansas versus whoever, none of that matters. All you trying to do really at the end of the day is get you one of those top 1-2 seeds. You dig me? Like one of the top 2, one of those 4, I should say, top seeds. And then really, once you get down to nut cutting time, the championship, it's rarely ever going to be all 4 1 seeds. The 1 seed's going to lose anyway. Just all you got to do is play ball. Period. Like, look, and here's the other thing I don't get to. Like, these playing games are foolery on top of foolery. And the fact that these kids are so excited just to go. Like, you don't get nothing extra for going. You ain't doing nothing but making money for the school. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the school and the coaches. And I'm going to talk to you guys about that in just a second here. Like, teams like Southern. All right. What is that? MEAC, SWAC, one of those type of deals. Where are we looking at here? I guess Michigan just squeaked in. Florida Gulf Coast. And usually around this time, and I'll do it by Wednesday, there's certain players that I want. Like last year, my boy, Mamadou Njai, what's the kid's name from Louisville? Montrez, spelled with an L, Montrezl. That's the type of stuff I do, like idiotic stuff with the draft, because I don't care about it. Not with the draft, with the damn the tournament. Let me tell you something. If I have to watch the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry do his thing, right? And then turn around and whoever Kansas, right? and Perry Ellis, who I don't know how the hell that dude is still, like, people make jokes about that dude being in school, but in reality, how the hell is he still in school? He got like 8 years of eligibility. But anyway, the best team, okay, record wise, Kansas, right? That's like being a high schooler and then banging a porn star, and then turning around and like the chick in sixth period is trying to holler at you. It's like, I'm not interested. Yeah, I just nailed, even one of these porn girls named Melrose Fox. I just banged her. I don't need you, Latricia. Yeah, that's how I feel about college basketball. Now, I will indulge in it, and I will watch, and I watch it for what it is, because in all fairness, getting a little something from Latricia ain't the worst thing in the world. But when there's that other option, she's kind of like up Crab Creek. Shout out to Renee Cooper. She's in the chat room. My guy Matt at East Point made me. He's in the building as well. So I'm talking about this NCAA stuff. Now, to get kind of off of that situation, one of the most awesome things happened yesterday too. In this money-hungry, these money whores called the NCAA and everything surrounding them, they tried to put together this 2-hour-long selection show. Like, you're not going to get me to ever indulge in it. You know why? Because I have a smartphone and a laptop and a computer and internet access. You know what I mean? I'm going to get the information I need without a bunch of dudes like Clark Kellogg and all these dudes, trying to break down every aspect of it and then have the big reveal at the end of the show. Screw you guys. Some dude either had the bracket or hacked in to get the bracket and leaked it about an hour before they could on TV, spoiling everything. And then I heard this morning, and this is what I love about people who don't care about something, pretending to care about it. But what about those kids that have to find out that they're not making the tournament through Twitter? You don't give a damn. Because if you did, you wouldn't have cameras on them for everybody across the country, not to just assume that they're dejected, but to actually see the hearts being pulled from their chest and dumped into the trash can. I mean, like, if you really cared that much, yeah, you just kind of put together a little, 30-minute show, 22 minutes in total, give the information, and bounce. But nah, you want to get greedy and extend this thing. Yeah, how about this? Worst overnight ratings for this type of situation in the last 10 years. I love when the man don't win. These kids out there, you gonna tell me that these kids don't have any value, their likenesses don't have any value. Meanwhile, everybody around the situation is getting filthy effing rich. And just to kind of drive the point home, because I'm me, I got the numbers on it, right? The NCAA, they earn nearly $1 billion. And every time you say billion, you have to make sure you say billion with a B of revenue. More than $700 million of that comes from the TV revenue from the NCAA tournament. And a lot of people don't know this, that the college football playoffs have nothing to do with the NCAA. That's a total different entity. So the NCAA, this is their baby. This is their cash cow right now. Now, if the players were able to get some of this money, let's call it 10% of this money, of all the players, they'd average $79,185 per athlete. I don't give a damn where you from. That's a good gig if you can get it. Meanwhile, they don't get anything. Unlimited snacks. And the whole thing about the snack thing, that's another misnomer. People think, but I mean, they get unlimited snacks. No. What the NCAA did after Shabazz Napier brought that up in a couple of tournaments ago, they said you're allowed to. They didn't mandate it. You know what I mean? And no one's brought it up since. So you just assume that everybody gets it. But no, you're allowed to give the athletes now without violation. You're allowed to feed them adequately. Kind of foolishness. Oh, I loathe the NCAA so much, it's not even funny. And the further I got removed from being a college athlete, the more it grew. You know what I mean? Because I went to 1AA school. You feel me? You know what I mean? So I had friends that went to bigger colleges and played ball, but you know, it wasn't something that was at the forefront until like the Ed O'Bannon situation happened. The situation about money, and the money just it wasn't as big. We're talking about in the last 10, 12 years. There are figures on this article I'm reading that talk about percentages like 200 and something % increase. That ain't even a real number. Like 100% of anything is like full is the max. You know what I mean? Like once you start getting into other territory, what that number is referencing is the pay for the administrators in the NCAA. Like Mark Emmert, going back to 2013, he made $1.8 million to be the commissioner of the NCAA, right? The lowest paid commissioner of the Big Five, a guy named John Swofford, that's at $2 million per year. He has the lowest, and his position is 258% increase from 2004. That's accounting for inflation, and that increase 258% was the lowest. Of course, Renee's chiming in. She's making one of my favorite arguments. I'm glad she said this. They do take advantage of it. Take advantage. And if I hear one person say at least they get a free education, I may slap them. Renee is a very violent individual, by the way. She like to put her hands on folks, seem like. No need to slap anybody, Renee. I'll take care of it. Yeah, she's right. You're idiots. Even like when I was in school and people used to say that to us. I mean, y'all go to school for free? Really no. Oh, really no. Yeah. Why I got this damn air cast on my ankle then, and this damn cryo cup that I got to walk around with. For those of you who don't know what a cryo cup is, it's a cooler basically with ice and water in it, and it drains down into this big cast on your ankle so that you can continuously keep your ankle iced all day. So that why? You can be available to play. I don't give a damn. You know, but of course it's free. And here's the thing, even if it was, right? To call it an education, yeah, that's a stretch, cuz. That is a stretch. Especially when you're talking about big-time college football. You see what happened at Syracuse. The North Carolina situation still ain't done yet. When they talking about these kids is reading at a 4th grade level, they being made to major in things like Swahili. To do what with? You know what I mean? Like, you can tell me that you gave me a car. Right? You can tell everybody, run around telling everybody about me. Damn, I gave him a car. But if the car ain't got no damn engine in it, what good is it to me? The same thing applies to education. You can call it whatever the hell you want to call it. But if it's empty, and if any time I try to do something as a I use this term lightly, a student athlete that conflicts, that the educational side of that conflicts with the playing side of it, it's a no-go. Yeah, it's an NOGO, period. All right, where am I at? Back to these numbers quickly. This is going to carry over to the next segment. I'm just going to warn you guys right now. Roy Williams, another number 1 seed in this tournament, right? Check this out, because this is the part I love. He earns a 6-figure bonus for each round that North Carolina advances. If North Carolina wins a national title, he's going to get $925,000 on top of his whatever millions of dollars pay that he already makes, just because his name is Roy Williams. And if his APR, which I forget what that stands for, but it has to do with graduation, the amount of kids that graduate, and that are on pace to graduate, if that is over 975, he gets an extra $75,000. $1 million this dude gets for a couple of weeks of work. And these kids get nothing. Not a damn thing. And that's not the most insulting part of it. It's the part when you say that they don't have any, that their likenesses and their images don't have any value, their names don't have any value. That's the part that kills me. But, you know, it happens every year, and everybody run out and they feel like they bracket, and it's March Madness time, and yeah. I ain't telling you not to enjoy it. What I'm saying is don't be a damn idiot. You know what I mean? Like, they don't. I was talking about this on Facebook today. Some kid stood up at an Obama function, and he talked about how, you know, he would actually, he never voted for President Obama. He never thought anything of him. He felt like he was an idiot, that he wasn't at one point not even American. All these type of things that were, you know, all the innuendo that was spread about the president, right? But then he got sick. And that Obamacare kicked in on his butt. And, of course, now it's like, well, I love him. Now they on stage hugging. But life shouldn't be that way. Like, it shouldn't have to happen to you for you to say something's wrong. Same thing with this NCAA stuff. Just because you're that dude who thought you could play in high school, but you really wasn't crap, and you wasn't able to get that scholarship to Kansas or Duke or wherever, just because it wasn't you or your son is terrible at sports, doesn't mean that some kid, what's that kid's name? Peyton? His name is Peyton something. Peyton Barber, the kid from Auburn. Yeah, he could do for some more schooling and some more play at the SEC level. But you know why he can't afford to take the chance and stay in the school? Because his mom's homeless. And he just got to go roll the dice, man. He got a skill that he thinks is good enough to provide some income, and he's going to take advantage of it. He's going to try to go to the NFL. Now, he's probably going to be an undrafted free agent. You know what I mean? But hopefully, you know, he gets a couple, you know, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 bucks in a signing bonus or something like that. That goes a long way. But the fact that this dude has to do that. Not he wants to, he has to. Because what he's doing, because he's doing the same thing right now and making a whole bunch of people hella rich. But now he can't share in that. And all this crap, and I know people think it's a good idea. Well, why not just put together some sort of stipend for when they're done, or not stipend, a trust for when they're done playing. Okay, do that same crap to Nick Saban then. If it's amateur sports, let's run it. You let Nick Saban take, you know, Sociology 202 and say, that's your pay, cuz. Now, that ain't gonna happen. Nick Saban gonna run out of here with $8 million every year on the backs of some kids, some 18, 19, 20-year-olds. But, you know, as a society, just entertain me. I'm good. I'm good. Just entertain me, and I'm good. Renee says, she's in the chat room. Oh, Matt says, free labor, ... the American way, and has been for many, many a year, my friend. Renee says, why do you think they shut down the whole straights in the NBA? The NCAA was thinking about that LeBron, Kobe, they lost on. Oh, Renee, you kind of, factually, that's not the case. The NCAA can't control that. That's a labor situation. And the players, the NFL, the NBA Players Association is the one who negotiated that into the last collective bargaining. Well, not the last one. I think like 2 collective bargaining agreements ago to raise the age limit. Now, what it is also though, it's the NBA understanding that they have a free minor league system. That's why the D League is so bad. The D League should not be that bad. And Renee, you're not going to want to hear this, but that whole WNBA thing, done, dead it. It's a drain. It is a leech, money wise, to the company that is the NBA. But in that same thought process, the D League shouldn't be that bad. You know, if kids don't want to go to school and they're not able to play right now in the NBA, all right, try your luck at the D League. And if that don't work, guess what happens? Like, I hate when people try to act like they care about these damn kids. You don't. Because if a kid doesn't make it in the NBA, you know what he becomes? A regular person like me and you. And for those people who had to take out student loans to go to school, they can do that. Like, you're not barred from the school once you decide you're going to leave to go to the NBA. Now, you don't have any more eligibility. but you can still go get your education. The best basketball player in the world don't have a degree. He's doing all right. Now he plans to go get it, but it's at his leisure. when he's not dropping threes and dudes' booty holes from 50 feet away, he'll take care of that whole degree thing. Yeah, it ain't the end all be all. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna finish the conversation about this NCAA tournament rigmarole, and I'm gonna tell you guys about some things that happened and were said earlier today that are just comical. Do that right here on One Mic with Big Mike. Don't forget Spreaker.com and the app is where I'm being heard. Also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and on Spreaker at the same handle, the number 1 MICWITHBIG MIKE, and I'll be right back.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic. Welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show. Big Mike here with you for the next, at least another hour. 57 and a half minutes to be exact, but who's counting? Got a lot of TV watching in this week. You know what I mean? This weekend, I should say. Got my barbecue on, not my grill on. I barbecue, cuz low and slow. Feel me? Got that popping this weekend. Last week though, I crushed like a whole season of what's it called? House of Cards, the Kevin Spacey joint. Crushed it in like 2 days, man. Ran through it. Last night got some of that Carmichael showing me. Hey, did he have like the teeth thing done? Because he got like that whole Denzel thing going on this season where like he can't close his mouth. Like he just be sitting there and you just see these white teeth poking out of his mouth. I think he had like the dental work done. I guess that money, that show picked up, that money coming in, it's ridiculous. So we're talking about the NCAA tournament. I'm talking about it with Matt. Renee's in the chat room as well. Don't forget, you guys can join as well by going to Spreaker.com or the app, searching for my show, the number 1 MICWITHBIG MIKE. And once you do that, after you sign up for your free account, just click on that little thought bubble. You guys can jump on in the chat room as well and share your thoughts with us, with them, with me, on the topic du jour, which is right now the NCAA tournament and the group that I call the NCAA holes. Yes, they're greedy, and people, there are people who will say, "Well, that's what America is." Look, don't give me that. You know what I mean? That's not a justification for what it is. Just stating the obvious. It's not a justification for the way they act and the way these athletes are, trotted out there. And it's as simple as selling hope. You know what I mean? Like all these, like so many of these kids feel like the NBA is their next step. Look, man, there's 12 jobs on the team. That's it. You got 2 rounds of 30 teams to get it in. The odds just ain't on your side, man. Just to be real. So I talked about the the brackets being leaked last night or whatever. At the bracket show, they kind of spoiled the whole bracket show. And I forgot who it was this morning. Somebody was like, I wouldn't want to be that guy. Like, come on, this ain't WikiLeaks, cuz. This ain't like national secrets. This is you douchebags passing around a piece of paper in a production room until it gets to the desk where they can reveal it. And somebody got a hold of it and sent it out on Twitter. Good for them. You know, like, screw the establishment, man. Let's go. I'm gonna participate. I'm not gonna participate. Obviously not. I'm 38 years old. I'm gonna partake in the NCAA tournament and see what it's all about. Like, everybody want to make this big deal about this kid Ben Simmons not being in the tournament. Who cares? Guess what? I'll see Ben Simmons next year. You know what I mean? I'm cool. You know, like, I take out of the NCAA tournament and just college basketball in general whatever they're willing to give me. You know, a couple years ago, last year, I got an undefeated Kentucky team. You know, Willie Cauley-Stein and Karl Anthony Towns and those twins, and that was beautiful. Cool. Run it. You know, Jaleel Okafor was in the building a couple years before that. You had Julius Randle and Aaron Gordon and Jabari and those boys and Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, everything was good. This year, not so much. You know, you read about it. He talking to me about Perry Ellis, the kid from Michigan State, Valentine, the boy out in Duke. Like, Duke's always got one of those guys in Duke. And Ben Simmons, and these, you know, whatever. Talk to me next year. We'll see what's popping. You know, we'll see what's really good. That's all it is. So before we went to break, you know, Renee's she's I'm every woman, and you know I respect her for it. And she says the WNBA doesn't succeed because the NBA doesn't promote it properly. But who are you promoting it to? It's so niche. You know what I mean? It's like the niche. It's the niche of the nichiest thing. And you want to get a little girl, like, trust me, man, I got a little niece, man, and I love her. And, you know, I hope one day she decides to get into some athletics and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's good on that side of things. My man Rob Calloway got his daughter, and he takes her to the Atlanta Spirit games and so forth. But I'm talking strictly from the business sense. You know what I mean? Like, to say that it's failing because they're not putting enough money into it, that's all they're doing. It's not reaping anything back. It's a loss every year. You know what I mean? You would think if someone is so hell-bent on continuing to go with it, that they're going to do whatever they can so that they can make money off of it. The fact of the matter is there's no money to be made off of it. It's there as a PR vehicle. You know, because you want to be all-inclusive. The NBA wants to be all-inclusive gender-wise, you know, race-wise, sexual orientation-wise, internationally. They want to be all things to everybody. And the WNBA is a part of it. I just feel like that realm could be better used in a developmental league. You feel me? She says it's not niche. It's all about the marketing, and they do an effed up job. Trust me. No, I'm not gonna trust you. It is niche. You know what I mean? Because if you, the reason is the definition of it. It's niche in the same way that soccer is niche. It's niche in the same way that Olympic diving is niche. In the same way that there's a certain sector of people, by definition, a certain sector of people that'll enjoy it for whatever reason they enjoy it as. But if I can, like, if the alternative is watch, you know, Aaron Gordon do a damn windmill from the free throw line in a game, or watch Brittany Griner, you know, barely like tip it in with her two hands. I'm gonna take the other. I'm gonna take the other alternative. That's what I'm talking about. Americans. All right, we're gonna move on from that. She's telling me that soccer is niche to Americans because that's a revelation. All right. So what's going to happen is going to happen, right? And everyone's going to be looking for their Cinderella teams. Yeah, forget Cinderella. Screw her. Give me the best. Because that's what like Dick Vitale, the yearly Dick Vitale rant about, oh my God, this is unfair to the little guy. Screw them. There's a reason those kids go to Monmouth. And those kids go to, I don't know, wherever, Weber State. There's a reason they go there. And there's a reason other kids go to, to Duke and Kentucky. There's a reason. Like, no one's, like in football, no one's hollering like, well, I don't know why they didn't invite Appalachian State, because it's understood. You guys do your own thing. Like, maybe the unfair part is there not being a division of Division I within college basketball. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, there is no, like, Division I AA in basketball. Everything is Division I or Division II. So then you have, they subliminally do it with calling cats majors and mid-majors. But really what you're talking about is the good and the hope you can put something together this year. Butler, Wichita State. Hope you guys can put something together this year. And, from my understanding, it came down to stuff like, the Monmouth boys against teams like Syracuse. All right. I know Syracuse. Monmouth, I know them as a sideshow. The bench is more popular than any of their players. As far as TV goes, I think the NCAA is starting to realize, man, that we can't keep trotting that out there. You know what I mean? We can't keep banking on Davidson being some sort of Cinderella. Nah, hell no. Why should we? Georgia State. All right. You know what I mean? Because really what we talk about then is like 2 games. Because then we could talk about these kids don't even have anywhere to stay. They didn't even expect to be here. Well, they only need one night because the next round they're gone. No, 80-90% of the time, next round they're gone. Oh, I told you guys I was going to finish telling you about the money. Don't want to forget about that money, boy. All right. I talked about Roy Williams. Speaking of college football salaries, 55 of FBS coaches earned more than $2 million in total per year in 2015, and 106 earned more than $500,000. 77 athletic directors earned more than $300,000 per year. Barry Alvarez in Wisconsin earns $1.2 million. Yeah, it's a good gig if you can get it, man. You know what I mean? And like these people like Dabo Sweeney, man. Like if they start paying players, I'll quit. Bye, cuz. You know what I mean? Like this is a dude who just played in a national championship game and got hella bonuses for it. I remember asking my dude Steve Silver. He covers all this stuff at thelegalblitz.com, and we talked about it. Like he bought pizza for like the entire campus, and I was thinking to myself, like, what if one of his players had a piece of that pizza? Would that be a violation? Because you can't feed the players. A dude got kicked off the team at what school was that last year? Homeless kid. They made him go home because he was homeless. And somebody gave him a couch to sleep on, man. That's how ridiculous these damn people are. This organization as a whole. And by the way, I talked about this last year. A lot of people don't know this. So all the people who feel like, this whole situation ain't got nothing to do with me, you're wrong. You know how many government subsidies? Because they're, CP 503 designation that the NCAA has. They don't pay taxes. But they receive tax money. Yes. So when you think it don't have anything to do with you, they don't want you to know it does. Even if you don't like sports, even if you don't like college football, college sports in general. Yeah, it has something to do with you. It has something to do with all of us. I mean, I just think it's wrong because it's wrong. But for those of you who need a reason, who need to be personally attached to you, there you go. You're welcome. And then this happened. One of the teams that won't be in the tournament not because they don't deserve to on the floor. The Louisville situation is so weird to me. I'm glad Renee's here too for this, because this country has this old, antiquated, collective mentality when it comes to things like sex and young people. Right? And we've been conditioned. People, fans of sports, have been conditioned in certain different ways. One way is to consider an NCAA violation something like a legal thing, like guilty, and people use words like guilty and they broke the law. Hell no. This Louisville situation, this coach, what was he called? Grad assistant, right? Thank you, Renee. The kid from Baylor last year. Kicked him off the team because he was homeless and someone fed him and gave him a couch to sleep on. Good for those douchebags. And then they tried to deny that it happened. Like this kid whose dream was to play football at this school and walk on there. By the way, that's the other thing. He wasn't even a scholarship athlete. He wasn't even receiving scholarship money. He walked on and they was like, nah, still homeless boy. Go back to your bench. God. Boy, I try not to curse on this show, man, so I won't. It's just so ridiculous, man. But people don't care because it's not their kid, And you got a right to be that way. Whatever, I don't care. Because like I said earlier in the show, you can't unstupid people. People are just gonna be stupid. So the Louisville situation, and if you're not familiar with it, a local whore in Louisville, and this is not me calling her a whore. This is her actual job. Or was her actual job, she was commissioned by a grad assistant to bring other whores, some of which are now saying they were not whores, they were only strippers. So she was commissioned and paid money to have these whores / not whores dance and sex recruits and players on the Louisville basketball team a few years ago. She apparently kept a log of the whole thing, and this broad wrote a book. And by the way, yeah, I'm glad Renee's here. Renee, you remember we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with Gerald Brown from the Bottom Line Sports Show. You guys can check it out on NBA radio, on satellite, Sirius and XM, or XM Sirius, or however they say it now, about people needing stars. And I made the comment to him that, yeah, people make themselves stars. I'm not wrong for the whore thing, if that's her job. Renee's telling me I'm wrong for the whore thing. No, that's what her job is. They bang dudes for money. Look it up. By definition, that's her job. Or was, at the time of the incident. But anyway, I told Gerald that people don't have to be stars. Stars are just created. Yeah, this broad is a whore and a madam. She whored out her daughters, by the way. And now she is a best-selling author. Go figure. Yeah, that's what America has become. You don't have to have a specific skill set to be a star or famous or any of these things anymore. Nah. Do something or witness something scandalous and tell everybody about it, and chances are, nowadays it'll happen for you. You get 1 million hits and followers and all this kind of foolishness, and it goes down. So anyway, Louisville is now on a self-imposed postseason ban, right? But here recently, just to kind of bring the story forward, 3 former Louisville recruits, they met with the NCAA investigators in like October or November. And this news is coming out now via ESPN's Outside the Lines. The grad assistant's name is Andre McGee. And over 4, this the other part I don't understand too. Over 4 years, yeah, I think it was like 4 years. He paid him $10,000, like total. Like, and I keep hearing people saying like, where is he getting this money from? All this money. Wait a minute, like $10,000 over 4 years? I think that's pretty attainable to most people. I think like dudes like on the off ramp with the signs in their hands. I think those people can probably afford $10,000 over 4 years just off begging for quarters and dollars. No, Renee, I'm not mad at her for writing the book I'm just saying this is what the world is. I'm making an overall point to my point to Gerald a couple weeks ago that people don't have to be stars to have a talent. The world has changed. Nah. My overriding point is that the people who are acting like the worst thing in the world is college students. Oh my God, had sex. And they saw naked women dance. Like, and I'm sure, Renee, you can appreciate this. there's an epidemic in this country of sexual assaults happening to young ladies. And speaking of, in the next segment, I'm going to talk about this Duke lacrosse situation, this 30 for 30, which was outstandingly done, but like, I'll talk about it. I don't even have the words for it right now. It was so ridiculous. It was ridiculously outstanding is what I want to say. Okay. So no, I'm in no way mad at anybody in the situation. I just think the attitude towards so many things in this country are antiquated. You know what I mean? Like, I understand it being a violation, but I heard somebody say this today. This is what I was leading to. I heard this statement made today. No, it wasn't even made. It was written. I read it, and I heard somebody read it earlier, that this is not academic impropriety. This is way worse. Wait, what? How? Like, other than some kid catching a disease that he's not going to be able to get rid of for the rest of his life, that could put his life in danger, other than that, what we're talking about is watching naked women dance of their own free will and having sex for money and paying them to have sex with them. That's a one-night deal. You're done. You give somebody a bad education, there's plenty of stories of kids of kids that are now men who are trying to get from up under that when playing sports was their job in college. And the education thing was something that was just talked about. And these people have degrees. A lot of these people ain't people who left school early and they graduated. But they graduated with empty, hollow degrees. And you gonna tell me that a couple of dudes having sex with some women is not that is worse than academic impropriety? I want to read the actual quote. Actually, you know what I mean. I want to read to you guys exact. I don't want to paraphrase it. I want to actually read it as it was said. Louisville. I'm sorry. I'm looking through my notes here. Okay. Somewhere at the bottom. Oh, by the way, the lady, the madam, the whore, or whatever, she's being sued by 6 of the women because, of course, they were they were portrayed as whores and not just dancers, and they're saying that they didn't have sex with anybody. They just went and danced. And in her book, she used pictures of them and described them as performing prostitution, and they didn't. So now, you know, as she has ascended to this realm of notoriety, of course, the same element that you were around that whole time, they're coming after you now for their piece of it. And, you know, such is the world. You know, I'm not a person who's like, oh, there's karma. I'm just saying that's the world, man. You know, you don't dot your I's and cross your T's. Things tend to come back and bite you. So it talks about Rick Pitino. And it says he's not accepting any responsibility over several years. This is not a guy who is turning his head to academic fraud. This is much worse than that. Why? Why? We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better with that. We gotta do better with this so-called like drug issue in the NFL. Now, I'm gonna talk about that as far as Martavious Bryant goes. Taylor Mays, he might be facing 4 games as well. I'm trying to get into all that before I get up out of here today. So yeah, these are the type of things that are I call like smokescreen topics. You know, right around the NCAA tournament, they bring up, like, just look at the history. Things like this will come up to kind of get people's minds on other things. Yeah, Rick Pitino knew, but you know, whatever. It's not. Now it's like CYA time. It's like covering your own ass time now. You know, because you know he already had the situation. Pitino already had the situation where he was like banging the extramarital thing where he was like banging the chick on the table of the restaurant he owned. That happened. Like we tend to like forget about these things. Like a lot of these dudes, man, they skeevy dudes. Jim Boeheim, and everybody want to holler out, oh, he's doing it the right way. Shut your ass up. No, he ain't. Nah. Like, if anybody, like, and I've always done this. I've always gone to bat for dudes like John Calipari, right? Because, like, people have always labeled him as a cheater. You know what I mean? The UMass situation where Marcus Camby was taking money. And people saw Marcus Camby showing up, getting off the bus with gold chains on his neck. Like, what you think? What you think? Patino went in his pocket and gave Marcus Camby money? No. Marcus Camby got money from somebody else, but it reflected poorly on the entire program. And with Calipari being the head of the program, yeah, he had to get, they had to take down the banners, and he took the L for it or whatnot. But, like, people still to this day, like, he's a cheater. The stuff in Memphis with Derrick Rose getting assistance, or they're cheating on the standardized test to get into school. Come on, man. Those are things that happen. You know what I mean? But I've always said this, especially now at Kentucky. Why would John Calipari, why would he himself, or even him having knowledge of something going on as far as improprieties around his players, why would he ever indulge? It's Kentucky. What he's going to do is show up at your mama's house with his resume and say, ma'am, if your 5-star son gives me the next 7 months, in month 8, 9, or 10, he'll be a millionaire. You want to know how I know? Ask John Wall. Ask Derrick Rose. Ask Karl Anthony Towns. Ask Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? It ain't hard. It's these other cats that got to run out and do that. Which kind of takes me back to Ben Simmons. Like, Ben Simmons being the dude, if he's the dude, they say, and I've heard, like, some conflicting arguments because people have a problem with a kid, garnering so much attention, but the team being so bad. Whatever. Whatever, man. If he's good, he's good. Being forced to go to college, ridiculous to me. But if you're LSU, what the hell are you doing drafting or recruiting a one-and-done player? What you doing with your life? Yeah. You're not going to, based on what I hear about their coaching situation, you ain't going to be able to reap the benefits of that. Hell no. You ain't let that dude go to, Carolina or Duke or some damn where. Kentucky. Not LSU. Because now everybody thinking it's the kid's fault that this badass team didn't go to the NCAA tournament. And then they mad because he don't care about school. You know who else wouldn't? Me. I wouldn't either. Whatever, man. I'm about to go make guaranteed money. More money than I would make in any job coming out of college after a 4-year degree. Yeah, miss me with the hypocrisy. And it's always, to me, it's always had that aroma. There's a race element to this. You know what I mean? Because we know, disproportionately, these kids that we're talking about going from high school is not Tyler Hansbrough. It's not Christian Laettner. Nah, it's not them. It's LeBron. It's Tracy McGrady. It's Jermaine O'Neal. Yeah, it's kids that look like me. And we can't have these little black kids, 19-year-old kids running around with millions of dollars. That's why now they're trying to tell you we got to raise the age limit. Man, go kill yourself, man. You must be ridiculous. Because I said it last year and I say it again. While all these folks want to be telling me that Jordan Spieth is the savior of golf, you know what he did? He went to Texas for 1 year and said, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm about to go play pro golf. And he's the best damn golfer in the country. Oh, excuse me, world. I don't hear nobody damn complaining about that. No, he need to stay 3 years. What the hell? Bryce Harper. What's the other kid's name? Mike Trout, these baseball players. They spent Chris Bryant, they spent a couple of months in the minors. They're good enough. They're playing pro ball for millions. No one cares. Yeah. That smell you smell, that's race. That's the race issue in this whole thing with the NCAA, with the NBA, this collusion that's going on. And no, Renee, it's not that I don't think the NCAA doesn't have anything to do with it. What I do know is they don't have the power to do that. And baseball players do go to college. The baseball rule is this. The baseball rule is what people are saying that the NCAA, that basketball should do. That if you go, you have to stay for 3 years. I don't even think that's cool. Because guys like Anthony Davis, from my understanding, he wasn't ready to go out of high school. But after that first year, what's the point? What's the point of making Anthony Davis stay in college for 3 years and depriving people like me who love professional basketball of the joy of watching this 6'11" dude do work on both ends of the court against other grown men. I don't want to see Anthony Davis play against no damn children. The same way I don't want to see Leonard Fournette play against children next year. And I didn't want to see Todd Gurley play and get hurt against children while he was at Georgia. Nah. And let me tell you something, too. Last thing before we take a break. If the NFL people, because all people always want to talk about the NFL, do it, here's the thing about the NFL. That thing will take care of itself so quickly. Some little 17-year-old boy that think he can run would take his ass out of high school and get drafted late in the draft by the Vikings or somebody, and the first time he get his damn head knocked off by a grown man who his pride just tells him, I got kids, B. You ain't finna do nothing to me. Yet every other player will learn. Much different in basketball and baseball. Much different. There's not a physical element where you have to be like Kevin Durant coming out of Texas could bench 185 like once. But you know what he can do? Get buckets. That's what the league is about. Getting buckets. This is One Mic with Big Mike. I'm Big Mike. We're going to come back and we're going to wrap the show up with the last half hour. I want to talk definitely about last night's 30 for 30. Now, I got to talk about these NFL stories, especially these suspensions, particularly the one Martavious Bryant, wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Be here for another 30 minutes or so right here on Spreaker.com. You got time to get inside the chat room by following me on Spreaker at One Mic with Big Mike. That is the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. As well, make sure you use that same handle for my Twitter and my Instagram. And don't forget, on Wednesday, I don't even have the damn sheet pulled up. On Wednesday, we're going to talk more about this NCAA stuff as far as the teams and the brackets and all. More official NCAA talk when the tournament starts on Thursday. We're going to do that with Vashti Hurt of CarolinaBlitz.com. Follow her online before the show, before we get her on, at Vashti, VASHTIHURT. And I'll be right back.
This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone. Childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the last segment of the One Mic with Big Mike show. With your host, Big Mike. Heard right here on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 Eastern Daylight Time. Make sure you guys are following me on Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, at One Mic with Big Mike. That's the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Use that same handle for Twitter and Instagram. And as far as Facebook, like my page at Facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. The One Mic with Big Mike.com website on the way shortly, a couple days away from that situation. Also, don't forget, I told you guys about another thing I'm working on with a guy, Urban Sports Online. You know, you hear the intro at the beginning of the show and at the top of the hour. That whole bit about they say my style is too urban for the radio. That is actually true. It's been said to me many a time. But this is kind of an adaptation on that, an embracing of that fact that there is a sector of the population that doesn't get talked to in sports talk. Many a times, you guys understand when you call these radio shows and all these things, they're not talking to you. You know, there's a conversation being had, and you're allowed to listen and comment on it, but they're not necessarily talking to you. You know, you can always tell when abstract topics come up, music, movies, things of that nature come up, and you find yourself, the Grateful Dead? Wait, what? They don't know what Martin is. You know, he's like, yeah, those things actually happen and, you know, is real. So, you know, this is a project that was presented to me that should be kicking off here in the next couple of weeks. The other thing I'm doing, I didn't even mention this at the beginning of the show. I'm on Roddy White watch. And the reason for it is, so many of you guys, when Roddy White got released from the Falcons, you got emotional, you kind of got beside yourself, got inside your feelings a little bit, and thought it was so wrong, and told everybody Roddy gonna make the Falcons pay, and he gonna catch on. You know, can't wait to see him with the Buccaneers. And I kept saying the Buccaneers got a young wide receiver, they got a veteran wide receiver on the other side, they got a nice little tight end game, running back, fullback situation. You're telling me that Roddy White's gonna go down there and be a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro again? I respectfully disagree and tell you that this is a young man's game. And the proof will always come out in the pudding. Roddy came out later on and said he was released because Kyle Shanahan didn't want him to be a part of the offense. His agent said that Kyle Shanahan gave the organization an ultimatum. When you ever heard of that? An offensive coordinator giving somebody an ultimatum. When in reality, if Roddy White could play ball still, he's directly linked to coaches having jobs. It's always so much easier, ask Lovie Smith, to get rid of coaches than it is to get rid of good players. Nah, hell no. And now you see, we are going on the second week here shortly of free agency. And I can't even go and type in Roddy White rumors and hear and see where anybody's even talking about or considering signing this dude that everybody swears has so much left in the tank. Wide receivers are coming off the board. Even Mike freaking Wallace. This news about that dude. And what the hell has he done in the last 3 or 4 years? I rest my case. Anyway, what I want to end the show with, man, because I got a couple of things I want to talk about, and I don't know if I have enough time to get to all of them. So, last night on ESPN, the 30 for 30 series continued, and last night it was about the Duke lacrosse situation. And the documentary itself was outstandingly done. And and the way I kind of judge these things is like every time that I think of a point, like, you know, why didn't you say this? And then they did it. You know, like you try to be like, I'm just kind of naturally cynical of things and wary of things being, you know, coming from a one-sided perspective. This situation was unfortunate on so many levels. And for those of you who don't know, real quick, let me make sure I kind of give you the backdrop on it. Like 10 years ago, the Duke lacrosse team threw a party that involved African-American strippers. And if you don't know, where is it, Durham? Is that where is Duke? Wherever that town in North Carolina where Duke is, it's a predominantly black town, from my understanding. Or there's a sector of it that's black and low income. A lot of people there, and you know, there's always a kind of an air of resentment towards the school and what the school stands for and the prestige and the type of player or type of people that attend the school. And so this situation took place where they threw this party. It involved strippers who were black. Later on, one of the young ladies reported that, she was sexually assaulted in a bathroom, and even before that, she was called racial names, racial slurs were thrown at her during them performing. They ended up leaving after just a few minutes, from what the police report said. So that led to another firestorm of things to happen. People were up in arms. I can't believe that these kids are going to probably get away with it because they white and they fortunate and they rich and all this kind of stuff. The community was like, this is an injustice. All your favorite black quote unquote leaders was in the building, checking out the scene and assessing the damage and all this kind of situation. Well, inevitably, after just over a year of evidence collecting, the pointing out of I guess assailants. What are they called? She's the victim. They would be called the assailants, right? And at the end of the day, the guy who was prosecuting, the county prosecutor, it was up for election, and he was pandering to the black people. And one of the things that I got from that I didn't see on social media, and I didn't see it in the documentary, and it probably wasn't a place for it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those abstract thoughts that so many times in history, what ends up happening, white America finds a way to use the emotions that black people kind of harbor from historical things. They use that as a pawn in whatever endeavor that they may be trying to go after. What I mean is that this was a very emotionally charged situation. Young black girl, single mom of a couple of kids, says a bunch of white boys raped her. The white boys are saying, we ain't do it. They're still allowed to play lacrosse. The season goes on or whatever until at a certain point it was canceled. And meanwhile, this white county prosecutor he's like fanning the flames, man. And he's giving what inevitably we know now to be misinformation to people, continuing to feed that resentment, that historical resentment, man. And it was so ridiculously done. You know what I mean? And it's one of the reasons that you hear me say on this show all the time. Like, unless you were there in certain situations, stay calm. Don't go that hard for anybody that this girl was raped, or these white boys did it, and it was wrong and all this kind of stuff, right? Like, we can all have the conversation about, whether they should have been having a party that involved stripping and all that stuff on a college kid. We can have that conversation, but that's not really this conversation. What we're talking about here is a situation in which young men were railroaded, and something that they held pride in, their lacrosse program, playing sports, was stripped from them based on an outright lie. And I want to say that clear and plainly, because I know in so many of these situations, there are people who look like me, they're black people who will still say, well, I don't know, even last night, well, something happened. They got video evidence of these dudes that she claimed did this thing, not even being within miles of them, of the place she said it happened. The DNA evidence was tampered with. No DNA was found in her or on her, except for a bunch of other dudes. None of the players. You know what I mean? And the sickening part of this, and I remember this happening too. I remember so many black people saying things like, well, now they know how so many black kids feel. That ain't their burden to carry, man. Like, I don't wish that on nobody's parents to have to go through that. And definitely nobody's 18, 19-year-old kids to go through that, because they had that is a lapse of judgment. But it's something that, like, look, I'm speaking from the mind and the heart of someone who's seen these type of situations firsthand as a college athlete, seen these type of situations. You know what I mean? And no, as an adult, you look at it and say, that probably wasn't smart to do. But it seems like it's fun. No laws were broken. Nothing illegal happened. And I don't know how old the kids were who may have been drinking if they were underage, but we can call that what it is, right? If that's the case. I don't know, that wasn't talked about yesterday or last night in the documentary. But as far as, the big stuff, the stuff that could send people to jail for life and all that kind of stuff, that didn't happen, man. And for anybody to find any way to justify that, you're an idiot. One of my buddies, Alec, he's actually from North Carolina, as a matter of fact, and he talks. We talk and have these race conversations. He's a white guy, and one of the things he talks about a lot of times is that feeling that he, as a white dude in his 30s, is being blamed for something that happened hundreds of years ago. And I say it again, that ain't their burden, man. You know what I mean? That ain't those white kids' burden. It ain't their fault that their parents had good jobs and they're affluent and they were able to send them to Duke and all these things. And if they act like affluent white kids and douchebags, whatever, I mean, kind of that's sometimes par for the course. Be it right, wrong, or indifferent, it is what it is. But they don't deserve to go to jail as sex offenders and rapists for that. The one thing that stood out to me at the end when one of the kids got exonerated, which, by the way, I think the three boys, or three men now, they're men. They were at the time, too, young men at the time. They now work for the Innocence Project. And if you guys don't know what the Innocence Project is, it's a group that works to exonerate incarcerated people based on DNA evidence. So if there was some good to come out of it, is that they're working on that side of things. And disproportionately, a lot of the guys who get released from this Innocence Project are people of color, just so that we know, for all the people who feel like, the struggle is ours. We don't need no damn white people there. Okay, you keep believing that, Sparky. But the one of the kids said that he felt that his pain wasn't just for him. Like he was good at the point because he was exonerated. But he talked about something that immediately as I thought about it, it was like it came out of his mouth. He said the problem is this stuff happens across this country this way, but it happens to people that don't have the resources to mount the same kind of defense in their favor as those kids had. Because these people, like his defense team had to go and get lab work done and go request lab work. It was like billable hours like a mug. And his parents were able to foot the bill, obviously. But he talked about people in this wrecked judicial system. It's so antiquated. I think the jury system is terrible, by the way. But he talked about the people who couldn't afford, if they needed to mount those kind of defense. It just becomes, what was that documentary I saw about those kids in Brooklyn, those 4 kids in Brooklyn who got coerced to copy for a rape that they didn't do for black kids, of course, is why I'm talking about it. Yeah, their parents didn't have the money or the know-how to deal with situations like that. They was in there talking to these kids and kicking their parents out the room and all this ridiculousness, man. What's Renee saying? Renee says, nothing gets me more than someone who lies about rape. You make it 100 million times harder for real rape victims and why it's so hard and humiliating to actually come. And those are the other victims to come out of this situation. This went on for a year. Right now in this country, it's being described as an epidemic as it pertains to sexual assault on college campuses, not just with athletes, but like these fraternity parties and all this kind of stuff. There's a culture of binge drinking and over sexualizing things, and all those things mixed together. The emotional immaturity of these kids, and a lot of times the feeling of things being handed to them. They all contribute to this culture, and these things that go on, these sexual assaults that go on with these women on these college campuses. Now, think about this: 60, 70 days. This ordeal went on. And at some point, the evidence really started pointing towards this girl lying. Now, think about the girl who something like that really happened to, and she's seeing all this stuff happen. And she sees what's about to come down on this girl who lied. You think now she's going to come forward and report her situation? Hell no is the answer. That, my friends, is the problem. That is the overriding problem to it all. There's so many people that are cynical. And maybe at times you should be. Because the same thing happened just, what was last year? At the campus of the University of Virginia. That Rolling Stones article about that girl who had this whole elaborate thing where she had these fake phone numbers and everything, made up a person. It wasn't even a real dude she was accusing. She made up a dude. She said raped her at this fraternity party and kicked the fraternity off the campus and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And it came back. Rolling Stones had to write a retraction that once other news organizations vetted it out, it wasn't even a real person. That's terrible, man. Now, for those people who want to say that's a victimless crime, you're an idiot. You know, and I'm always the one who says this. So many times when things are being done unjustly in this country, it just can't be the people who look like the victims that stand up for it. Like when you see these demonstrations going on outside of these college campuses, all these girls that are saying, no means no and things of that nature. You don't see no dudes out there. It should be just as wrong it should just be as wrong to young dudes as it is to young women. And I'm saying young because I'm talking about on college campuses. It should be wrong to everyone. But I'm speaking of that particular thing. And I feel the same way about race relations. That if it's wrong, it's just wrong. You black or you white or you Mexican or you Asian or whatever you are, it's wrong. So when people want to, all us black people going to hit the streets. I tell the story all the time about the kid who was shot dead in a driveway here in Georgia. He was a Latin kid. He was a Hispanic kid, excuse me. Simply at the wrong driveway, trying to pick up his homeboy to go, or his friend. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy. But him and a group of his friends were in a car. The MapQuest or whatever it was took him to the wrong place, to the wrong driveway, to pick up their friend to go skating. The old white man inside saw a car full of Hispanics with music playing and just came out shooting, didn't say a word. Shot this boy in the head and killed him for no other reason than him being Hispanic. And by the way, he went to trial. He was given, a $500 fine and 10 years probation. He went home, is what I'm saying. That boy's life ain't mean nothing. But I ain't seen nobody in the streets marching for that. I ain't seen nobody laying down in the streets. Are we saying it's not as wrong? All right. Okay. That's what we want to go with it. That's what we want to go with it. It only matters when it's somebody that looks like you. I said it earlier in the show. That's the wrong approach to have towards anything. Empathy is empathy. Period. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Hold on, let me make sure. I got a couple minutes. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the situation with. Oh, by the way, last thing about this Duke lacrosse thing. I don't know if I mentioned the lawyer withholding DNA evidence and kind of not fabricating DNA evidence to try to convict these boys. He served 1 day in jail and he was disbarred. Like in the documentary, one of the dudes was like, the worst thing you can do to a lawyer is to disbar him. I was like, kind of not. Yeah, them boys was going to get 30 and 40 years. Sounded to me like that'd be appropriate for the lawyer who tried to give it to him. Not no damn 1 day. But I don't make the rules. The legal system is effed. You feel me? Speaking of things that are effed, and this is the One Mike with Big Mike show. I got a couple minutes left. I am your host, Big Mike, being heard right here on Spreaker.com and the app. In the NFL, something that bothers me a lot is the way, once again, the NFL has done a masterful job of conditioning its fans to feel a certain way when they hear a certain thing or see a certain thing. You see a dude get hit in the head, no more are you like, ooh, dang, look at that, boom. Now you're like, oh my God, that's awful. They've changed your entire perspective. And masterfully so. And of course, a lot of that comes with the education of finding out what exactly it is that happens. By the way, I'm going to talk about this some on Wednesday too, but just before the show started, one of the NFL's lead officials on the concussion issue. They finally admitted that yes, football has a direct link to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, otherwise known as CTE, the brain condition that comes from repeated blows to the head. And quickly before we get out of here, or I guess I get out of here, in the NFL, Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Martavious Bryant is now, he's been suspended now, not facing. He's been suspended for a year for violating the substance abuse policy. Now, if you remember at the beginning of last year, he was suspended 4 games for smoking weed. I don't know if it was smoking or possession or what it was. Since then, he skipped some drug tests, and in the eyes of the NFL, that's the same thing as failing them. And I think here recently he just failed one, and so he's being suspended for a year. And then yesterday, sometime, I think his agent and the people around him came out and said he's dealing with depression. And if you don't know, depression is another is a side effect of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the brain disease. What I also know is this: people are very, and this is what I'm talking about, being conditioned. Man, he's so stupid. Look at this dude trading his career for weed, and look, he'd rather get high. I want you to name me the last NBA player that got suspended for weed. You can't. He doesn't exist. NBA doesn't test for it. You know why? Yeah, I don't either. I have a feeling because societally, it's being more and more accepted. The last Major League Baseball player you've seen suspended for weed. You know why? Doesn't happen. The NFL is the only one of the 3 that take this weed thing so seriously. When in fact, just here in recent history, in recent times, there's been links. There have been actual links medically to the benefits of guys who repeatedly take blows to the head, guys with bad knees, using marijuana. It has anti-inflammatory properties as far as your joints and your knees and things of that nature. It also has a chemical in it called a cannabinoid, or cannabinoid. What is it called? Cannabinoid that can help reverse the effect of concussive blows to the head. So before, I'm going to keep saying this to you. It's going to go the same way. Exactly. See, Renee, this is like, sometimes me and Renee have this, we have this love-hate thing sometimes. Now we kind of love each other today because we've agreed on so much, as opposed to now, apparently in this country, I don't know if you guys have heard, there's an opioid epidemic, like a heroin epidemic. Now, if you live in the black community, if you've grown up in the black community, you would say to me, Mike, what you mean now there's a heroin epidemic? Well, I'm saying now because that's what the news is telling us. It's now because in middle America, in the suburbs, and Judy's mom is now hooked on pain pills and heroin. There's an epidemic. But the NFL plays their part in that too. They'd rather a dude be doped up on prescription drugs that if you take too many of them, will kill you. Look at the numbers when it comes to accidental overdoses from prescription pain pills or prescription pills in general. Now I want you to go look at the numbers for overdoses of marijuana. Yeah, keep looking. I'll wait. Actually, I won't. So my point, before we just jump on that whole he's so stupid type thing, you don't know what this dude going through. And before you just try to say maybe this whole thing about him being depressed is just some sort of smokescreen to soften the blow, don't do that either. Because all those things are real issues. All those things I named are real issues. You know what I mean? And for them to now say that this dude is being, basically you're saying he's being punished for self-medicating. When you tell me the owner of or one of the upper management people in the Steelers, in his statement today, it was a justified punishment. He's got to get his life together. All right. Cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, we don't hear nothing about, I say his name all the time, now I can't think of it. The kid that killed himself in front of Romeo Cornell and the Kansas City Chiefs exec. Was his name Javon Belcher? Yeah, Javon Belcher. Yeah, they just come out of nowhere, man. Listen to his mama. Listen to Junior Seau's mama and his kids talk about the change in his attitude. Listen to the scientific people who talk about the CTE situation. Listen to them talk about the changes in attitude. Just look at the movie if you don't want to do all the research. Just look at the movie. It's pretty accurate. The change in attitude with people. The NFL, they're gonna keep trying to hide from this issue. And trust me, I'm all about information. That's it. Allow people to make informed information, because now, the age of 30, people are running away from the game. B.J. Raji today, big defensive lineman from the Packers. My man says he's gonna take a hiatus, a year off. I don't trust that. He's a fat boy. You know what I mean? This ain't somebody who's addicted to the weight room. Like, who gonna trust B.J. Raji to take a year off and come back and play professional football? You know, I think he just don't want to say he's retired, but he's done. And the trend will continue to grow. The more money these dudes make, and the more education that they get about what's happening with their bodies, some of these dudes just gonna make a concerned effort to make as much money as they can and get out as soon as they can. Just remember where you heard it from, man. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Appreciate you, Renee. Appreciate you, Matt, for joining me in the chat room. Don't forget, you guys can download. If you're just catching the show, if you didn't catch the beginning of it, you want to share it with your friends, you guys can go to Spreaker.com and the app and download it. By next week, you'll just be able to go to the One Mic with Big Mike website, onemicwithbigmike.com, and get all these things. I won't have to tell you guys about all this stuff. But until then, sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. Follow my show, the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Follow me as well on Twitter and Instagram with the same handle, and it's on Facebook, facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. When I get back here on Wednesday, like I said, I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. I'll be joined at 7:30, the second half hour of the show, by Vashti Hurt of CarolinaBlitz.com. On Twitter, she's at Vashti Hurt. We're going to talk a little college basketball and get you guys ready for the tournament. Till then, see you guys on Hump Day, man. Have a good one.